I'm making apricot quinoa flakes protein bar sort of thing. Well, it's more of an energy bar. Well, it has all. I have the oat flour here, which I've prepared everything. So I've gotten, this is my, I guess I can put that in now. It's my ground up chia seeds. So I'll dump that in. I've already, oh, I should show you. Okay, well, I've put, I mixed up almond butter with vanilla and what else? Some stevia, about a teaspoon of stevia, about quite a lot of vanilla, maybe a tablespoon, and 2 of these packages. I would have just used fruit, pureed fruit myself, but I had these, they were going to expire, so I put a couple of these in, and just throw that somewhere. There's good. So that ends up looking like so. I mixed up the, okay, so first what I did this morning was I made this into flour, the oats, just normal rolled oats. Now, if you're making protein bars in a pinch and you want to already you can get oat flour that's already smooth. But there's some other things in it. I don't know if you can read that. So anyway, you might want to just get your own, or make your own just from oats, and then you avoid the other ingredients on there. But this isn't a bad product if you're in a pinch and you need some oat flour. Now, I was using things in the past like this to make my bars, but there's a lot of ingredients on there. I don't know if you can read that. That, you know, I might be better off without. And there's another package here that I have. You know, I used to use things like this, right? And I don't necessarily have a problem with using things like this. I have in the past, and I'm not going to let these go to waste. But I find it better to just mix up make my own oat flour, just with the food processor. It's very simple. You just take the normal S-blade, and I've used this food processor that I chose to use today is really beat up. Most people would have just tossed it. I mean, all of my food processors come from the thrift store, so they're all pretty beat up by the time I get to them anyway. And like now, I just have to make sure I look at how many pieces are missing off my food processor. You know, like the lid is actually in worse shape than this blade, but it's still going, so I'm still using it. I just have to make sure I don't have chunks of plastic in my bars by the end of making them. Anyway, so you just take that blade and the food processor with the rolled oats, and it takes like a minute, not even, to make oat flour. So you make your own oat flour that way. So, and I guess I just showed you that the chia seeds or flax seeds, whichever I choose to use in my bars, I grind them up fresh in my coffee grinder right before I use them. So that's what I have in there so far. And then after that, I mixed up the goopy bit, almond flour or almond butter. Can you see that? I don't know. I used one of these, and normally I would not use roasted. I don't like that. But anyway, this was given to me, and it is tasty, and I'm certainly not going to waste it, and I'm very thankful for it. So I mixed up that and put it in the bowl. And then I did about a package and a half of these apricots. And boy, oh boy, that's tough on the food processor. You won't lose any pieces probably the first 2 steps I mentioned, but turning these into, well, you'll see what kind of chop I like for my bars. That's pretty hard on the processor. So this product's great because it's just apricots. There's nothing else added to this product. So that's terrific. And I guess I'll show you right now. A little bit of wet on there still from washing it. I have the zest of 2 tangerines that I've saved here for my bars. And I'm going to put a third in. So I just use this part of the grater. Makes it really nice. Oh wow, that smells terrific. Ow. Slippery little fella. Anyway, I'm going to have this for my dessert for second breakfast today. So right after I'm done making these, then I'm going to get to work on that. The pups have been pretty excited. Well, Elvis is right at my feet because he is certain that I'm making stuff for him. His protein bars. Because, oh, I also mixed in whey protein powder in with my almond butter and whatever, because I had it. Normally I wouldn't want to use whey protein powder, but this actually makes it taste a little bit more like a creamsicle when it's done than using, say, brown rice protein powder, which is also a great protein powder because it's doesn't really taste like anything when you're done making your bars. It's whatever. It's good. So dump that in. So I have the zest of 3 tangerines, and oh my gosh, it smells so amazing. I don't actually like the taste of orangey things, but I love the smell of it. Alright, so things are going to get kind of messy now. I've already loosened the lids off of my containers because I'm going to have to wash them. Now, I know I can add a little bit of flour, oat flour here, and still get things. So let's see. That was probably about a cup. And I'm just going to set that down right here. And then I already have the lid loosened off my quinoa flakes here. So I just mix this up by hand because then you can really feel how much. I'm going to keep one of my hands not gross. I can feel how much I need to keep mixing this way. So things are still pretty goopy. I can add quite a lot more of my oat flour. So that's about more than a cup. So far I have about 2.5 cups of oat flour in here. And let's see, I don't know how, 1 full thing, a coffee grinder of chia seeds. I don't know how much that was. I don't ever measure, I just feel. So trying to come up with recipes, like my mom is like, you really should put everything in a container before, at least, to show people how much they need. Like, well, you know, I'd rather teach you that to just go by feel. You don't need to measure anything, almost. Well, I mean, if you're doing some sort of French cooking where you're making, I don't know, some fancy thing that I don't make, you might need to. But things like this, you don't need to measure, you need to feel. If you start measuring things and whatever, if you really liked what you did, just try to get a loose idea of what it was and do it again. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, this time it's going to be easier for you to see. So that's about as much oat flour as I want. So that was about 2.5 cups of that. And now I'm going to put some quinoa flakes. Now I could put more oat flour, but I want to use quinoa flakes this time. So I don't know where to put this. Right there. My kitchen is like a hallway. It's not very big, so it's kind of tough to make it. I'm used to it, but it's like if I didn't show you this angle, you'd be like, oh my gosh, how do you cook anything in such a small kitchen? I don't know. I'm used to it. Now, I actually hate quinoa flakes. I hate quinoa. I think it tastes terrible, but it is useful in a lot of things, and it's nutritious, so I eat it. And in something like this, you're going to taste a lot of, well, I can smell the roasted almond. So it's going to taste really roasted almondy and tangerine-y. And you're really not going to notice the quinoa flakes. So this is a great recipe for that. Now, why I was able to not put so much stevia powder in here is because I used the fruit puree from the baby food, and I'm going to use a ton of apricots in it. So if you're one of those people that really hate having iron in your diet, or you need something else, like say you need to avoid iron in your diet, you will want to replace the apricots with a different kind of fruit. And you could use a lot of different things for this. And it still tastes delicious. So that's up to you. But apricots have a lot of iron in them. So if you're, oh wow, this smells great. If you're a young lady and you're still getting your period and whatever, then this is a great bar recipe for that, because you get a lot of iron. Now, I like my bars really firm, so I really, oh shoot, I haven't been paying attention how much quinoa flakes I'm sticking in. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I think that's probably about the same amount as the... Yeah, it's really a workout. Probably the same amount as the oat flour. Now, if you don't, like James likes a softer bar, and if you've taken my advice in the past and you've made bars according to DIY Protein Bar by Jessica Steyer, her recipes, hers are really soft protein bars. So if you've made them like that and you like them like that, then you're going to want to put something else in, like some almond milk or something like that, just with your, when you're mixing up your almond butter, just to make it a little less dense. But I really like a firm bar, so it's normally both of my arms would get a workout from this, but I'm keeping this clean so that I can touch the camera and stuff afterwards and whatever, you know, because in the lids. So anyway, you really mix that in. That's how you make sure it doesn't, you don't get some dry tasting quinoa flakes or whatever at the end. So you just keep mixing and mixing and mixing. And it's still really sticky, and it's going to actually get stickier. So if you're thinking, oh, you're adding too much dry and it's not going to be sticky enough, no, it's going to be stickier because I still haven't added my apricots, and they're really going to stick things together. So right now I'm just making sure my quinoa flakes are mixed in very thoroughly so that I don't like bite into a bar and get a bunch of like dry quinoa. That would be gross. But yeah, anyway. So this is going to have healthy fiber from the oats. Boy, I'm getting winded already just mixing this up. And healthy fat from the chia. And the almond butter to some extent. I don't know. It's roasted, so kind of junk food there. Anyway, and so if I were going to recommend making this particular bar, that's one thing I'd change. I wouldn't have roasted. And if you're into whey protein powder, then sure, keep it. But I mean, I think it'll be healthier with the brown rice protein powder, and it's not going to taste that much different. So anyway, okay, where did I put the lid for this? Oh, there we go. I'll snap that on. Okay, maybe I won't. There we go. And on. There we go. Kind of stuck to it because these things are sticky. So there's my apricots. I've really minced them up pretty good in the food processor. I'm going to dump the whole lot in there. So that's 1.5 packages. So each package was 250 grams of dried apricots. Oh, they smell terrific. All I've had this morning so far is my first breakfast, which, since it's April the 1st, was lettuce juice with ginger and Myers lemon, and the regular turmeric and black pepper. So this just gets harder to mix, but doesn't get less sticky. And I want to try to mix those apricots so that they're really thoroughly mixed through it, so I don't get one bar with all the apricots. So again, you're not going to get a firm bar unless you mix it by hand. If you follow Jessica Steyer's recipes, you can do it pretty much all in the food processor, which makes it easier. But I mean, this is a free workout. It's great. Why go to the gym? You can make your own firm protein bars this way. But anyway, yeah, there's a, let's see, apricots. Well, I'm mixing 21 grams of sugar in 1/3 of a cup of the apricots. So that's something to consider. But I mean, you're getting all of the protein or all of the fiber from the apricots themselves, and you're getting all of the fiber from the oat flour. So, I mean, do you think it really matters that you're getting all that sugar from the apricots? It's something you want to consider for yourself, right? But I haven't used any refined sugars or anything like that in this. This is all natural fruit to sweeten with the fiber from the fruit and some stevia, a little bit. So I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I have been not worrying about the sugar in fruit for a long time, and I'm not going to start now. healthy. You get a lot of healthy things from eating fruit. Oh dear. And now I'm throwing pieces out of the bowl. That's great. Oh, that's going to be such a good firm bar. Oh, it feels terrific. This is going to be so good. So this bar is great for when you are hiking because you get all that energy from the apricots, from the sugar in the apricots. And if you're all freaked out about that, well, whatever. You're burning it off while you're hiking. I mean, this isn't the kind of protein bar I'd recommend for the hiker's hangover. This is going to give you a lot of energy. All right, so that was exhausting enough. And I'll just get that over there. And there we go. I've put some parchment in here. And I haven't had it all fancy like Jessica Steyer's or anything like that. Wow, this smells so good. But yeah, this is a Pauline original recipe right here. It's so good. I don't know. I recommend Jessica Steyer's recipe book because it basically teaches you how to start making your own protein bar. It's great. And then you can do your own thing like this. This is awesome. Now, you can get the same kind of texture from using the dates. Like you can buy a block of dates that are already processed in the baking oil, and if you prefer that, but it's going to give you a different flavor, so I would recommend using the dates in the blocks like that. It's so cheap and it saves your food processor from trying to destroy itself. Again, just use the dates for energy bars. There we go. Just a few pieces here. Or the apricots or whatever, right? Like think about when you're going to be consuming these things. So for me, I get most of my protein bars made this time of year, and they go into the freezer and they're ready for me when I need them. So if I've been having an intense day gardening or whatever, I could totally go for one of these. Or if I'm going to go on a hiking adventure where I leave for, I don't know, 3 days or 4 days or more, you betcha I pack these. Or a date bar, right? They're awesome. You need energy to keep going when you're hiking like that. When you're physically exerting yourself, it's got to come from somewhere. And some people go for fat exclusively for their energy, and others choose the sugars, the carbs. I don't recommend refined carbs, and if you're using fruit for energy like this, the sugar is going to be slow released into your body because you're taking in all of this healthy fiber along with the fruit, right? So there is nothing wrong with using carbs for energy. It's what we're meant to do. Using fat for energy is good in an emergency. It's a good backup. You need both. All right, so that's that. So now what I do, oh boy, I'm gonna score these bars now because this is pretty firm. And so I take my knife, I cut them into bar shapes once I get this off my fingers, because why would I waste this? Oh, and here I did go get this hand gucky. I wasn't thinking. Oh, there's a couple fingers there that are clean. Anyway, I think this is a bar even James would like to eat. But we'll see. So, I mean the oat flour and quinoa that I didn't use, that, well, the quinoa flakes were already flakes, but the oat flour, I don't like to grind it up ahead of time. I like making everything pretty much when I use it, just before I use it. I lost something there. But in this case, I don't really care because, like, I whipped up enough oat flour this morning because I make a lot of protein bars this time of year. So I know within a couple days that's going to be gone. So I don't really care. Now, I didn't do that with the chia seeds because I use the coffee grinder to grind the chia seeds anyway, and that's as much chia seeds as I use in a protein bar recipe, usually. Sometimes I'll put more. But I mean, I wouldn't grind up any ahead of time. Never, never, never. The fats go rancid more quickly once you grind the seeds, so don't grind the seeds. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to score it up. I'll put it in the fridge. And then once these are even firmer, which they're pretty firm already, I mean, I could score them and probably carefully get them out as bars now. But if I score them now into bars, like well, whatever. I don't need to show you how to cut them into bars. So if I cut these things and then I stick them in the fridge, this whole tray in the fridge, this is going to firm up like a rock. So then the bars, when I lift this, they will not come apart into a crumbly mess. They will be solid bars. And then I will put them into their own special little baggies, and then Ziploc bags in the freezer, and I'll label it what kind of, like, I think I'm going to call this one Tangerine Dream, because I can really smell the tangerine. It smells terrific. And yeah, that'll be that. That's in the freezer and ready for me when I'm hiking or gardening.